Welcome to Forte Catholic. I am Taylor Schroll, and that is Chris Bartlett. Hello, Chris Bartlett.
Hello, good friend. How are you?
I am doing well. A few months ago on the show, we titled the episode something like Big Announcement, and I set it all up kind of as a joke. I thought it was a big deal. People were pissed that I called something a big announcement. And do you remember what the reveal was?
No, what was it?
That I require glasses, and you can, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see how well that's going. I'm not wearing them. It didn't go
quit.
well. Yeah, I gave up. But I do have a real pretty major announcement today, and I don't think people are going to be mad about me saying it's a major announcement.
Well, then make it bigger than big. Make it a major or a colossal announcement.
Okay, colossal announcement. I have been offered the role of the Director of Evangelization and Catechesis at my parish here at St. Joseph's, and I have accepted and will be taking that full-time and doing this part-time.
Yay, congratulations, Taylor. I need an audience, put in the applause track in there, right there.
I did tell you to be the audience surrogate for this episode, and your surrogacy is going very well. That's not something that gets said on Catholic podcasts very often.
Yeah, I think that pregnancy or job change or something like that are all big announcement worthy. Glasses is just like you announcing that you're getting old, because now I do recall that podcast episode. But this is great. So this is the parish that you've had relationship with for how many years now? 11.
So I have worked here as a member of this thing called a Blaze that I think you're slightly familiar with.
El Presidente.
Yeah. So I worked there for 5 years as the director of youth ministry and campus ministry at St. Joseph's and at another parish at St. Mary's in Brenham. That was my role. I had many roles at a Blaze. It changed every 17 days, but the one that was the consistent was my relationship with St. Joe's. So I was the director over a youth ministry and campus ministry team, and I have stayed connected there. So if those of you who know that I had left when COVID hit. The world ended, and then we all had to figure out where we all landed. I had to choose to step away, and 5 years later, I am now working directly for the parish, and it's the same place that I've been coaching. And the great news is, as part of my interview, I was like, I would like to stay coaching. It's the first and most successful ministry I got involved with here. And they were like, yeah, I don't care. I was like, sweet. So yeah, I've been here for 11 years through the good, the bad, and the ugly. And now is a good time. It is good for me. It's good for my family. It's good for us financially. And as we mentioned in the last quote unquote major announcement episode, I am getting older, and I have really enjoyed working with adults through foundations. And I am now responsible for a team of ministry leaders who are responsible for the kids all the way up to the olds. So I'm looking forward to it.
And you essentially have accepted a position that when you were at a Blaze working as the director of youth ministry, this would have been that person's supervisor.
Correct.
Okay. So you're now the boss of the new version of you.
I am the boss of the new version of me. I don't know what you're trying to say, but I'll agree with the words that you used.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, that's neat. So you're stepping into a role that supported the role that you had all those years ago, which is a really neat kind of career arc. Congratulations, man. That's awesome.
Thank you.
On a couple of questions.
Sure.
And we'll start with kind of a simple one, but what are you most excited about and what are you most nervous about?
I think the thing that I am most excited about is with this foundations course. So for those of you who haven't been listening every week, where I talk about it pretty much every time we do something, it's this course for adults that's essentially an introduction or reintroduction to Catholicism. It's been very successful at our parish. And one of the things that we do in that is we do the spiritual gifts assessment, which is something that you've done. You had done it before, and then we did it again at the retreat, the men's retreat that you came on with me. And one of the things that's like a takeaway from the spiritual gifts assessment is what are the things in ministry that give you life? And one of the things that gives me life is being around people and actually talking with people and being with people and pastoring people, right? So like I'm not a priest, but like a pastor in the sense of like leading a group of people and walking with them, which is why I think I love the coaching so much, because it's the most consistent thing other than being a parent of where I am walking with somebody consistently. I'm with them for 4, if not more years. And that's the part of ministry that I've been missing, right? Like I've still been traveling and speaking and stuff. And like I've been getting these jolts of it every, these 10, we do 2 to 3 10-week courses a year. And like, that's what has given me the most life in ministry and like where I feel like I belong and all of my skills are being used. And it was one of those things where like getting a taste of it made me hungrier, right? Or like just knowing that it was there made me want it more. And so that's what I'm looking forward to the most, is working with people, like both as people that I am pastoring, but also like working with a team. That's a big part of what I loved working at Ablaze, was working with a team and doing some mentorship. And like everybody on the team is under 30, except for the one person who we'll get into later. This could be a follow-up question later. My wife is on that team. So she's the only person that is older than me on the team.
She is older than you. Ouch. Okay, good.
The thing that I'm most nervous about, I guess, was nervous. Is that what you said?
I said anxious, nervous, whatever.
Anxious.
Yeah, the concern.
Oh, here's how I'll answer. The other thing that I'm most looking forward to, one of the reasons that I took this job that is, as you pointed out, different than jobs I've had in the past, is one of the other things that has been frustrating over the last 5 years is wanting to do more at my parish, because I used to have a role at the parish, like a job, a like paid where I have responsibilities role. Part of this job is I have a seat at the table. So any of the things that have frustrated me or made me anxious being part of the parish, or made me frustrated being a part of the parish when things would happen, it's like I can't solve I'm not the pastor. I can't solve those. I'm not going to get my way in all of those things, right? But I have a seat at the table as a part of the leadership team for the parish to voice my concerns and voice my thoughts, which is exciting, but also it could also be the part that gives me anxiety, is that I am a different person than I was 10 years ago when I first started working in a church. And it's good for me, but it's also like, I could also ruffle feathers more than I used to, because I used to just be like, "Yes, sir, whatever you want, sir. You're
your first 3 years in ministry.
You're the older man, sir. You're the older woman, sir." Like, and now I'm just like, I think you're wrong. And that's going to cause some anxieties. So.
And I think there's kind of 2 aspects of it. First of all, the pastor over at St. Joe's, for you guys who don't know, is excellent. He's got a great vision. He hungers. What he doesn't have is 5 of himself. And so like you have to be able to build the right team around you to be able to make that a reality. I feel like your heart and his heart are very aligned. Is that fair to say?
Yes, very, very much so. Like, with my history with working in and around the church has been no secret. I've shared pretty openly and honestly on the show over the last 10 years. I did not think that I was ever going to work in a parish again. And working alongside him as a volunteer and working alongside him as a parishioner and like being on the pastoral council and like having a role in, it's like I had a seat at that table, right? But now I have like a permanent seat at the table where I'm not just once a month, like I'm there every day, and like working with him, I wouldn't have said yes to almost any other pastor, like because of some of my past relationships with pastors that I've worked with. Some of them I liked as people, but maybe not working with them. Some of them, I didn't like them or working with them. So I got, and I like him and I like working with him. And it's kind of one of those things that he has said in the past that he would like to stay here for a very long time. And
you're like, I second that motion.
Yeah, I will be here for as long as he is here, and then we'll have to see. So I'm very much tied to this pastor.
Yeah. But you kind of touched on it, and if you don't believe me, just go back and listen to, I don't know, any podcast episode circa 8 years ago to circa 5 years ago, somewhere in that range. I don't know. Right. You and Father Anthony, in a lot of ways, processed a lot of what you went through, and the very walls that you'll now be walking regularly are the same spaces that a lot of church hurt happened to you, and there's obviously and unfortunately layers of church hurt and different editions. It wasn't like there was just one thing and you're like, I wish that hadn't happened. It was like, whoa. There are some things that are unhealthy and it is creating a culture or situations that could be toxic or harmful to the faith that you love. And now you're stepping back into those spaces. Are you nervous about, or is there anything about that to where it's like, oh yeah, this is the room where I found out about this, or I was treated in this way or whatever, or like, tell me about kind of walking back into what was once a lion's den for a season.
I never left. So, like, the physical spaces, I never left. So I've been going and listening to homilies in the Lion's Den for the last 11 years. I've led ministry in the Lion's Den for the last 11 years. I have walked by the lions for the last 11 years. Like, the way that I'm seeing that, it's not answering your question, but it's the true answer is I have healed a lot. Bless you. But I've also hardened quite a bit. And what I mean by that is that, like, I'm not going to let it happen to me again. And I said this in my interview. It's like a big part of my role at Ablaze was protecting my team from the barrages of church hurt being thrown at us as a group. I took all of it, right? And so, like, I'm pretty hardened, and I'm just not going to put up with it. Like, I put up with it and was like, I was the good soldier of, like, I'm just going to take it, and, like, it's like I'm a general now. Like, I'm not going to take it, and I'm going to support my lieutenants and the civilians and everybody else. And I don't know. I'm just a lot less no nonsense than I used to be, I think, because of a lot of that stuff. And I'm just older, where it's just like I'm more comfortable around adults than I was when I was 22. Like
it was so weird. Yeah. And when I first got offered, so I worked at a parish, and then I went and I worked at the diocese. And when I first got that position, I made the announcement to the parish that I was leaving to go work at the diocese. And I remember standing in the adoration chapel, and there was a woman who was probably maybe in her 40s or maybe 45, 50, somewhere in that range. And
76, got it.
She was 1,000,000 years old, and
she got 5 years older every time you opened your mouth. So I just saved us some time and got us
by
to
now.
Years old.
Yeah. And so, so I shared with her, I'll be leaving the parish in a couple of weeks because I got hired to be the director of youth ministry at the diocese. And she says this, I didn't know they hired kids at the diocese. And then she realized what just came out of her mouth, and her jaw hit the floor, and she covered her mouth, and she said, I'm so sorry. And I said, I'm excited about my new position. Thank you. And just moved on or whatever. But it was kind of like, wow, like, it wasn't just me viewing myself as like, oh, I'm interacting with other adults, but I still feel like a kid. The adults were like, yeah, I'm interacting with this young adult, but I still see him as a kid. And so it's neat that you're like, no, I'm coming in as a general. I'm coming in with the full force of my identity, which to a lot of ways had to be forged in the midst of some of that church hurt, so to speak, or those situations for you to be like, no. If that ever happens again, this is how I'm going to stand my ground better, because I now know better who I am. And anyways, there's a neat redemptive arc, and I can't wait to see what God does in you, through you, and around you, being a part of that team. Yeah. What's the official title? Is it coordinator? Is it director? Is it chief? Is it what? Anyways, yeah.
Chief Sir. I am Chief Sir now. I am the official Chief Sir. I am the director of evangelization and catechesis at St. Joseph's.
And is evangelization and catechesis two different departments, or they're both seen as one?
It's all seen as one, right? Because essentially, like, it's cool. It's really easy kind of for me to step into this position, because as with my role as on the pastoral council, that group is kind of what formed this whole baseball diamond idea that I'll explain in a second, that we've been talking about for the last couple of years at our parish and on the show.
Yeah.
And so the great overview that like the pastor and the pastoral council discussed all this and kind of formulated it and then presented it to the parish staff. And then the parish staff kind of ran with it. And now I get to be the person running with it, which is cool. But
it's womb to tomb. You're basically baptismal class,
yeah.
adult formation, sacraments.
Right.
You're overseeing all of it.
So the baseball diamond is like from home base to first is like basic evangelization, getting people in the door, making them be like, I feel safe and loved at church. Going from first to second is learning about the faith. Going from second to third is living out the faith and kind of working out the kinks. And then third to fourth base is like, I'm going to go and serve and help, right? So essentially what we've done is in all of those areas for kids, for youth, for young adults, for everybody, we're trying to have avenues of all those base paths for every age, right? Because it's not like you're a baby and you go from home to first, and then from when you turn 8, you go from first to second. It's like every age group has people that need to be evangelized, need to be catechized, need to be discipled, and then need to be like helped to go serve and be sent. So I am responsible for that process for every age group.
That when I was a teenager, first base meant something entirely different. Getting to first base.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is way better.
Yes. If you got to first base, you needed to be invited to church, and that's true for both of those scenarios.
Desperately. So that's amazing. And okay, cool. Is there something that you'll be doing that you've never done before that you're like, I've actually never led a baptismal class, but you'll be leading the team that's leading the baptismal class, right? You might not actually. How much of it is front lines? How much of it is kind of strategic planning? Like what, or do you even know yet? You're like, I'm going to find out when I get there.
To answer your first question, the thing that is new for me is I'm being paid to work in the Catholic Church.
Okay, cool.
I have worked in the Catholic Church for a long time. This is the first time I'm being paid to work in the Catholic Church. If you're picking up what I'm putting down. So
yes,
the frustrations will be easier because when you're making $2 an hour, it's easy to be like, screw this and leave. It's a little harder when you're making a little bit more than that. So that's a very exciting thing. But also like, so how I see this, and like the answer is I don't know, but the answer is we're going to figure it out. Because when my predecessor, Kevin, is a longtime friend of mine. We met as the right-hand man of both of our youth ministers on a mission trip in the year of our Lord, 2008. Like, we've known each other for a very long time. We've been friends for a very long time. And what's funny is, like, I've been a confidant for him throughout all of his five years in ministry here. So I kind of know what's going on, like I have, if you've watched Andor, I have friends everywhere. So I know what's been going on in the parish because of my roles, my wife's role, Kevin's role, and people seem to tell me things. So nobody tells me the full picture, but if I have everybody telling me something, what I told Kevin was like, I've got a 1,000-piece puzzle we're trying to make a 1,000-piece puzzle, and I have about 996 of the pieces, and I think I'll get the next 4 over the next few weeks as I get started in a couple of weeks. So when he started, he was the office. It was him. It was just him. Now there are 5 people, and so like his role was like ever expanding, but then also like as the parish grew and as his finances grew, and like our parish is growing because the pastor's great. If we have not mentioned this yet, right? Like good things are happening at our parish, so it's growing, more people, more money, all the things, right? So his role kept expanding and growing to where they had to hire more people. The first person to be hired there was my wife, and then the youth ministry team, and then the young adult court director, whatever her title is, right? Young adult and adult faith formation person. So that office has continued to grow. And so his role was a lot more frontline, and it became a lot more managerial. And I had lunch, a 2-3 hour lunch with him the other day, and it is more managerial, but what he would fill holes, and he was leading some things, right? He was leading the family faith formation, giving a talk every week. He was leading a couple of things, but essentially what I'm going to do is like find the gifts and talents and desires of the team and what they want to do, and I will fill the holes that are left over. right? So like for the front facing part of what I'm doing. So it's just kind of a going in and seeing how everybody's at, what they're good at, what their strengths are, what's needed in the parish, and matching gifts to them because I've been doing this for a long time. I can adapt pretty easily to what I need to do.
So let's say that I am a parishioner and I loved Kevin, your predecessor. And I hear this guy Taylor's being hired. And I'm like, why should I be excited? Why should I be excited as an average parishioner Joe about Taylor getting hired for this role?
Kevin's reign has ended. Now is the time of Taylor. I don't know. What do you want me to say? I have no idea.
That was exactly what I wanted you to say. Yeah. Kevin has been defeated. Meat is back on the menu. We feast.
Right, exactly. I think it's going to be pretty similar. Kevin and I are pretty similar people, and like, it's just such an interesting thing because like this is also the first time that I haven't moved into a new job. It's the first time I haven't moved away for a job. And so often when people get hired for church stuff, it's like they're coming from the parish down the road or they're coming from across the country. It's like, it's just such an interesting thing because I've been here. It's like there are some people in the situation that you said, but like the interesting thing is that most people in the parish have already formed their opinion of me. They either love me or hate me already. You know, like it's not gonna change all that much. And now that I have an incentive as a representative of the church, I probably do need to. Anybody that does not like me probably need. Like I have an incentive and reason to mend those things. Right? As a volunteer, I could be like, I don't care. Like it doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah. And they're not asking who is this Taylor guy because they're like, oh no, it's Taylor. You mean our Taylor? Yeah, it's that Taylor.
Yeah,
oh, that makes sense. All of them are like,
you coach all 7 of your kids over the last 11 years? Yeah, that guy.
And they're like, oh yeah, oh, that makes sense. I mean, I guarantee that's what most of them are saying. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. And then they just move on their happy way. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're going to continue the legacy that's being built. And that's great.
It's slowly, it's not like a public thing yet, but it's also not a secret. So it's been kind of like going through the rumor mill in the parish. So like multiple people have come up and congratulated me and told me how excited they are, and the people that don't like me haven't said anything. Like it's not like
so. For us listeners, are we supposed to keep this to ourselves? This seems like a pretty public forum.
No one listens to this anymore, so it's not a secret. No, I'm just kidding. This is it. This is it. This is the coming out party.
Okay, great phrasing. But yes, wonderful. Thank you.
I've been doing this for a long time. I choose my words on purpose.
Cool. Okay, so then what's next? You said you're moving to this position full time, and you're moving Forte more to part time. Yes. So now we're a part of your moonlighting gig. What does that mean?
Sure. So I will answer your question, but it's going to take a story. So how this ministry started was through events. Like I was in college, I started getting, asked and paid to go lead worship for youth conferences and retreats. Like that was kind of the first thing, right? So then I started, that was like the first leg of what Forte Catholic was, like Taylor speaking and leading worship, right? And then the second leg was I started working at Ablaze and St. Joe's and all those places. And after about a year, I was like, I have a desire to do some online ministry, right? I have a music background, radio background. I want to do radio podcasting. So I started the radio show podcast. And then, so creating our own content was that second leg, that second pillar. And then the third pillar was when I started working at Ablaze, I started producing Ablaze's podcast. You might remember that. I think you were
Beyond the Pew, right?
Yeah,
or Ministry Leaders Anonymous.
Yes.
Or Catholic Dad Show.
Yeah.
Or ... Yeah.
So I was producing, editing, those type of things. And then, word really started growing of my skills in that area, and it blew up, especially around COVID. Like everybody had to go digital, and they were like, I need a millennial. And I was here, so like I helped everybody get started and launched. And then after that, it moved from like the kind of, ministry leaders or Catholic leaders or whatever, speakers. Once like life got back to normal, they kind of went back to their day jobs, dropped the podcast. But then like, because I had built up my name in this area, the big organizations like, Catechism of the Year and Pints with Jack and Ave Maria Press and Focus, all these, the National Eucharistic Congress, like all the big organizations are what remained, right? So we've been doing like that's been our bread and butter, the day in, day out. So at no time in the history of Forte Catholic have all three of those pillars been strong. It has always been two and one lacking. So at the beginning, there was no other producing. It was all we're creating our own content, and that content is helping drive getting us, getting me booked to go speak and lead worship, right? And then when COVID hit, the events pillar completely dropped off. Yep. All gone. Nothing for years, right? So, and that's when the third pillar of the producing the other people's podcasts really grew. And then over the last couple of years, the most steady and growing part of this has been us producing other people's content. And my events have gone way down. I was doing 50 a year before COVID, none for 2 to 3 years, and 10 to 15 over the last 2 or 3. Like, I'd love to do more, but for whatever reason, the phone's not ringing, emails aren't coming in, right? And then also the content that we've produced, we've been doing the show for 10 years. And for 8 years, it was constantly like, Tesla's stock over the last 15 years. Maybe a little drop here and there, but just skyrocketing. That's an Elon joke if you really look into it. Like it's just skyrocketing, right? So like I started as nothing. Like I was just a guy with a radio show podcast, no listeners, no followers on social media. And then every year it went from 50 listeners a week to 100. And then the next year was 200. The next year was 400. The next year was 800. The next year was 1,000. Next year was 1,500. And just constant growth for 8 years. And then for whatever reason, over the last 2 years, it just got cut in half, which is like demoralizing, right?
I will like to share, and this is probably totally unrelated, but it's been about 2 years since I've been a guest host. So just going to put that out there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Very, very much so. Very much so. No, that's not it. I don't know what it is. People are like, why? How is that? I was like, I don't know. I guess people don't like me. I'm not sure. But also, I think it's just like, I don't know, man. It's been 10 years. I have had a lot to say, and I think I'm kind of running out of stuff to say. So one of the things I'm really looking forward to about this new job is like, I can repeat things and it's perfectly fine. Like things like RCIA, you kind of do the same thing every year. Things like foundations, repeatable process. Like if I came on here and we just did last month's episode, everybody would be like, what the hell are you doing?
Yep.
So essentially over the last 2 years, I've been pretty discouraged because, I mentioned like I was able to like mentally get through any two pillars doing well and one pillar not doing so well because it was just always kind of rotating. But two pillars have been going down. It's like, if you try to sit on a stool with one leg that's supposed to have three, it's not going to go very well. And just
ever.
Like, yeah. So like financially, it's been tough and just like, it's been demoralizing. And it was like this weird wrestling that I had within myself over the last 2 years. For the last like year and a half, I've really been like, what am I doing? What am I going to do? What does God want? What do I want? And the answer for a year and a half was, I don't know. Because like part of me was like, am I being selfish? Because I like the feelings were real. The feeling demoralized about the show shrinking, right? And being like, should I shut it down? Should we be done? But then I was like, is that even fair? Am I really going to run at the first sight of struggle? Because 8 years of the stock skyrocketing, and then, at the time, 6 months, 1 year, year and a half, 2 years, it's like, am I really going to be discouraged? But then after 2 years, you're like, yes, I think I am going to be discouraged. I think that's what I've decided. And like, honestly, like a year ago, I started looking for other jobs. I was like, do I do secular jobs? Because I still kind of, I don't know. Like I don't want to move. I don't want to leave. They just like wasn't a good job for my skill set that also allowed me to like make money for my family and still do the things I care about, like be a good husband and father and be involved with the track and like all the things that I care about. And like, it was kind of the wrestling of like, what things do I need to give up in order to take the next step? Cause I like the service industry. It's like last year I was looking at like restaurant manager, hotel manager jobs. Like I like taking care of people. Like I like, like that sort of thing. I worked in hospitality stuff for a while and restaurants and, you know, like the hosting trivia and stuff that I've been doing. It's like, I'm taking care of people and like, I enjoy that side, but I would have definitely having to give up track. I would have had to give up the show. I would have had to give up like picking up my kids from school and being at all their sporting events and that kind of stuff, which like everybody has to make that choice. Right. But I was like, it's a cost benefit analysis. Like, how much am I going to have to make to do a job I don't really want to do to provide for my family and do the things that I have to do? Like, it's just all of that was just really complicated. Right. And like, none of it fit perfectly, but something had to change. Like financially, we couldn't keep doing what we're doing here. My family couldn't keep doing what we've been doing over the last year and a half. Like something had to change. And we made a major change in pulling the kids out of Catholic school. And like, but there was still more that needed to be done. And Kevin called me out of the blue and said, I'm leaving. And I was like, one of the big things about leaving a job, especially a ministry job, is like, is everything that I've built going to fall apart? I'm like, legitimately, a minute into the conversation, I was like, don't worry, guy, I got it.
Because that's what he was fishing for. Is that right?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
I've just been a friend. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it seems like it's the most natural transition that I think anyone could have asked for in this world. Yeah.
And it's what I've been looking for and waiting for the last year and a half. I just didn't know it. Because I did, like, you just can't see this coming. Like I did not see him leaving. I didn't know that was an option. Right. I didn't know that was a thing that was going to happen, but it fits so perfectly that it's like ridiculous. So like essentially like in like my discernment over the last like year and a half ish of like, what do? I kept trying and discerning and like coming up empty. Just I don't know. And it was kind of this frozen thing of like, essentially what I did about a year ago, because it started about a year and a half ago. About a year ago, I was like, something needs to change. I just don't know what it was. So I pursued jobs and I pursued like growing Forte Catholic. I did both of those things simultaneously. I was like, I couldn't figure out what God was trying to do, which is not rare. And I was like, I'm just going to pursue both of these, and whichever one works, that's probably the direction I'll go. And neither worked. Like I put in a ton of work in like getting new financial avenues for the show. And I looked into like getting new donors, and I looked like, one of the weirdest ones that was like an obvious sign was like, I had never done grants or grant writing because it's a daunting task, right? And I found a grant writer who was affordable, and we clicked, and everything was going well. We put in for one grant, and like legitimately the week after we put in for one grant, he quit unexpectedly, and it was like, we can't work together anymore. And it was just like no explanation. Just like, it's like, I think God was making it so obvious that like everything that I tried to do, I got the door slammed in my face, which has not been the case for the previous 9 years. Where like most of the time when I tried something, I got it. Right.
Yeah.
But it was just like over and over again. I am trying to build the financial basis of this organization. I'm trying to build the show. I'm trying to build the clientele. I'm trying to build the grants. I'm trying to build the events, and just striking out over and over and over again, to where it was like, I don't think this is just discouragement because I like numbers going bigger. I think it's like there's a season of this that's coming to an end, and I think God was preparing me for this. I wish it would have happened 6 months earlier, but it is what it is. Yeah, it worked out perfectly.
Well, and I do want to say that in all of it, the frustrations aren't just, oh, this thing isn't stabilizing. I think there's an authentic frustration of like, God, you've given me all these gifts, and I want to share them for your glory and to build your kingdom. And anywhere I go to share them, it feels like the door is getting closed in my face. What gives, my man? What gives?
Right. Yeah. For sure. For sure. Right. And so that's kind of where the discernment has been, kind of where I've been. And like, it's not a secret. Like I appreciate people reaching out over the last month because we haven't published anything in the last month. It's because this has been happening. Right. And people so there are, 500 to 700 consistent listeners to this show. And I can express how much appreciation I have for y'all, right? Because through the thick and the thin, through the good and the bad, through me at my best over the last 10 years and me at my absolute worst, like people have stuck by, right? And it's like, that's awesome. It's awesome. It's so good. People have been donating. People have been supporting. It's really good. And the cool thing is that like, we're transitioning to, it's going to look different, right? But we're not going away, which is cool. So essentially what we're keeping is I'm going to keep doing events. I love doing events. I get invited to events. You invite me to come to events with you, and that's always really fun.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep doing that. We are going to keep producing other people's content. Our content is we're sunsetting lots and lots of things. So the show is going to be you and I once a month. That's what we are producing. And one of the factors that I think led to the show shrinking is that most people interact with the show through the clips that we share on social media and that sort of thing. And I think people were like, well, if I could just get 5 minutes of Taylor, that's better than an hour. So 5 minutes a week in a 1 minute clip, 5 times a week. So I really think that's one of the things that I think shrunk our show over the last couple of years is posted too many clips and people not like, it was always a like marketing driver to get people to come to the show. And I think like most people, even just like locally, people were just like, hey, I saw that clip. It was really good or really funny or really insightful. I'm like, thanks. You watch the show? Nope. So you and I are going to do once a month, and we won't be sharing clips every day because there's not going to be a show every week. And
sure.
Yeah, I'm just kind of getting out of the content machine from myself. But we love our partners that we're helping produce their content, and we're going to keep doing that. I'm going to be doing that part-time. Sarah's going to be doing that part-time, and we're essentially going to be a, creative studio for other people's content, and I'll travel and speak, and you and I will talk every now and then.
Good. I think that's wonderful. We're all, hey, let's all sit down with Dad. He's got something to tell us. We're all shifting into this new chapter together. Some things are going to be different.
We've had a lot of those conversations as a family over the last few weeks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even with the schooling thing and different things like that over the last few months, so I'm blessed because you told me that you were throwing your name in the hat for this position. And just to let you know how good of a friend Taylor is, I'm like, I'm going to pray for you. And so you told me the day that you were going in for the interview, and I was praying for you that day. And then I get a text message like an hour and a half after you said, this is the time to pray for me. And you're just like, I got the job, or they offered me the position or something like that. And it was just joy. It was just joy. And so I've gotten front row seats to just this wonderful season of grace that God is pouring into you right now. And this opportunity for your gifts to be fully utilized on a regular, consistent basis. And your family gets fed along the way. Like that's a cool secondary feature, because you were willing to keep doing this evangelization stuff, even if it didn't feed your family. You've proven that over the last 2 years.
Damn sure. You bet I have. You bet you bet your little tushy I have.
Yep. So thank you, Taylor. Congratulations, man.
No, thank you. And you've been very helpful along the way. You've been a confidant of mine for many, many years. And, to show you my appreciation is 2 people knew that I applied for well, I guess the pastor, the director of operations knew because I hit submit on the thing, but my wife knew because, she's my wife. Kevin knew because he's the one that called me. And then I asked 2 people and told 2 people to pray for me. And you are one of those 2 people. So by choice, you were one of the 2 people because I did not want to make it a thing and then not get the job and have to face everybody.
That's hilarious. I'm number 2 of 2 on that list.
No, you were number 1. You were number 1 of 2, and
Nice.
the other is the holiest person that I've ever met in my entire life. And she texted me out of the blue, which means the Lord told her. Like, we haven't texted in 9 months, and she texts me the freaking night before I'm like, okay, you can pray for me.
I'm your number 1 of 2, but God was like, oh, if just Bartlett's praying, Taylor needs some more help. He needs one other praying. So then he put that on their heart to reach out to you. So
I don't know exactly how prayer works. We're all kind of confused, I think, if we're honest with ourselves. But I do know one thing. Her one prayer was infinitely more powerful than all of yours.
100%. I concede. Yes. And God knows that as well. So good.
Yeah. So that's that. So I want to say thank you again to everybody who's been listening kind of along for the ride. It's been very fun. We've had some insane moments, and we are going to record one more episode with Father Anthony, and that is going to be our 10-year anniversary celebration that was supposed to go out last month, because on October 6th, we celebrated our 10th year as a show. And that's going to be a happy episode where we look back at all of the good times that we've all had together.
Both of them.
The 2 good shows we had in the last 400 or so. But yeah, that's where I'm at. So thanks again to everybody who's been watching, listening, sharing our stuff. You know, the friendships that I've made. It is ridiculous how many of my close friends are from around the country, and not because I grew up with them and they moved. Like, I have made friendships. Like, Father Anthony is one of my best friends. He's a diocesan priest in Pittsburgh. I should have never met him. You know, like all these things. And, you know, the people who listen, especially the people who like reach out when I haven't posted in a few weeks, because typically it means something's bad's going on in my life. This just happens to be a good thing and a big transition time. But, you know, people have reached out. That means a lot. And just like noticing, like, hey, I missed the show, you know? And I was like, you know what? I did too. Let's get Chris on and tell everybody what's going on. So I've contacted a bunch of donors, and like, essentially, if you want to keep supporting what we're doing, the new thing we're doing of once a month of our own content, but primarily focusing on producing other people's and, you know, kind of supporting the rest of our ministry. Great. If you'd like to move on, this is a transition point for you too. Thanks for your support all this time, because it's
less great, but thank you.
Yeah. No, like, seriously, like, there have been people who have supported me for the last 6 months. There have been people who have supported me for 5 years. There have been people that were like my supporters at Ablaze, and they came with me when I started this as a nonprofit. So like, there have been people that have been along for the ride and supporting this kind of work for years, and I appreciate it. And like, if this is the time that you would like to move along, more power to you, right? Because like, just the honesty of like, we need money to support this ministry, but like, my need for this is not my only source of income anymore, right? Like, I have another source of income, and they're taking care of me. So it's great. All is good. Yeah. All is good. So
good.
And if you want to, if you've ever not supported because of me, the primary worker at Forte Catholic now is the sweetest pregnant woman you'll ever meet in your entire life. So if you don't like me and want to support a pregnant woman and eventually her new baby, keep supporting.
Amen to that. Yeah, Sarah's great.
She is great. And we're very, very thankful that she is here. And like, her being around is one of the big reasons that we don't have to close shop, which is really nice.
Yep.
So I am grateful all around. Any other thoughts? I not that I usually have any, but I came in with no notes. I'm just going to share what's on my mind.
No, I think that's great. That's a nice little punctuation, and gratitude is, I think, the ending breath on the colossal announcement. I think that's wonderful.
Not the other announcement is I've stopped wearing my glasses. All right, Mr. Surrogate. Any other questions you have to ask as an audience surrogate? You've been a great audience surrogate, because, as you mentioned earlier, you used to just be an audience guy.
I did, yeah. I came from the trenches, and I made my way all up into the majors, and right around the time that I made it into majors, people stopped listening. So I don't know what to tell you other than
they stopped listening a year before you started.
Oh, thank goodness! Thank goodness.
Yeah, so it's not your fault that they left. You just never got to feel what it was like to be a part of one of the leading Catholic podcasts.
The
rest of us did.
This is how every LSU fan feels today. Like boom, I'm no longer part of a big And they're losing their coach as well. So but you put that into your thing. Now I'd like to continue a coaching track, and they're like,
yes,
okay, they're looking at your resume and they're like, oh yeah, you went to you've done this. Oh, you've spoken in all these different places. Oh, you helped produce one of the largest podcast in the world. During that season. Okay. Anything else? Yeah. Can I still do the track coach thing? And they're like,
right.
Okay. Like, I don't know how that's relevant to this interview, but you're in. Yeah. So way to sneak it in there.
Every spring for 10 weeks, can I leave a few hours early? And they're like, yeah, I don't care.
That's it. Just do it.
All right. Well, what's going on with you?
Okay. If you don't put an advertisement in right here or something like that,
we haven't had ads in years.
I know this is just going to be an awkward transition, but I do have a scenario I want to run by you if we want to shift back to like classic show mode for a moment. It's a little bit of a what would Jesus do, what would Taylor do type of situation. So we ended up hosting this neon night at the kids' school, and
there's a neon night at the end of the tunnel. It ain't all that bright, but even though it's subtle, you got me feeling all right.
You son of a gun. And so after the big volleyball game, they turned off all the lights and put on these black lights, and just they played. They had a highlighter on some of the volleyballs, and it was just fun. But we had to return them, and we're going to return them, and it's in downtown Austin, and it's just we wait at this light to make a left turn into the area that would get us to where we return these stinking lights. We waited for 3 cycles. And at the end of the 3rd cycle, like I'm seeing, maybe I can make it through. There's a car that pulls up next to us and tries to cut in front of us. We're like 3 cars back. And I'm just moving up with the flow of traffic like I normally would. And I said, nope, I've been here for 15 minutes waiting for these lights to go through, which in actuality, I was exaggerating, but it was 8 minutes waiting for this light to go through. And you see the line of cars behind me. You could have gotten in back there, and I didn't let him in. And there's part of me, because my daughter was with me, and I was like, did I just exhibit uncharitable behavior? And so what would Taylor do in that situation? What would Jesus do in that situation? How would Jesus drive? And I wanted to get your thoughts, because I have some pretty strong opinions, but they're all self-edifying. And so I want to hear yours first before I share mine.
I have my What do you think I would have done in that scenario, Chris?
I imagine that had they cut in front of you, you probably would have gotten out of your car, lifted their vehicle up as one of your last things you can do before you start entering into middle age, and threw the car out of the way and then pulled forward. I imagine you might actually go Hulk on them.
Try again. What would Taylor do in this scenario?
Wave at him with half of the peace sign.
Try again. I'm going to keep going until you get even remotely close. You are so far away.
Okay, let's try the one. I don't think you would have let them in.
I need you to step away from the wrong. I need you to step away from the scenario and look at it again, and ask where Taylor is. Would
you cut the traffic and run the light? You would have been the driver that's trying to cut in.
I was the other car. Yeah. And you want to know the most? I think I can be hypocritical, but I think I'm self-aware enough to know when I'm being hypocritical.
Sure.
And like having a wife and kids and like really working with youth and like coaching young people really kind of helps you get a little bit more consistent. Like there's some things that like, you say as coaches because you repeated it from another coach, and then they're like, but you said the opposite yesterday. I'm like, you're right. I did say the opposite. I need to decide. So like over many years, I've decided, I think the most hypocritical part of me is that everything that you said is how I act when somebody tries to pull in, and I will not let them in, but I'm also the other car at every chance that I could get. Because you know what? You're right. You were mad because you waited 8 to 15 minutes. I know that I will get there, so I won't allow myself to get there by cutting in front of other people. It's the track runner in me. I used to be the fourth leg on our 4x4, and my job was to pass every team that got the baton in front of me. And I'm not being prideful to say I did it quite often. And so the times and the amounts and when to pass people and how to see patterns, I got really good at it. I can't run anymore. I got to use those skills somewhere. So I use those skills to be the other car.
Have you ever been denied? Like tried to cut in front of another car and it did not work out?
Yes. To the point where I had to like keep going forward, do a UE and turn right. I had to think about it a while because it's been a while. Because I'll put it this way. I'm a jerk enough to cut in front of you. I'm not a jerk enough to cut you off. Meaning,
I
if
like
it's
that
a
distinction.
long line and nobody has been going, but if you allow a car length between you and the car in front of you, that's mine's. It's mine's, and I'm taking it, right? So I do this a lot. There's a street light on a street that I am constantly on that I have to turn left on to go to my house. There is a turning lane, and the polite thing to do is to get in the turning lane. And what I talked about this with two cops that work at our school and that were parents of track kids, right? And I asked them, I was like, what is the white line? Like if I talked to them about this. I was like, I wait like for 3 cycles of the light to get through. And they're like, just get in the straight lane and cut in on somebody. I was like, but I can't cut in. It's a solid white line. He said, it's not solid yellow. You can cross it. It's just a suggestion. I said, yes, sir. So I have a legal reason to do it. I'm not going to like try to put anybody in danger. But like, for instance, if there are 19 cars in this line and there is an 18-wheeler in that line, guess where I'm getting in?
Right in front of the 18-wheeler.
Right in front of the 18-wheeler because he has no acceleration.
And to me, that's justified because he's going so slow that you can actually shorten the line for the people behind you by getting through. You know what I mean? So
You're right.
That one makes sense.
That's me trying to be a good person. But in this scenario, like if it's a long line and if you give me, like if you would have given me a car length, I'm getting in. But I'm not going to like stop and be 45 degrees into your lane and into my lane because that's dangerous for the people behind me. It's dangerous for me. I don't want to get in a wreck.
Yep.
So if I can, essentially, I'm just trying to save time and get to my destination safely. If I could save time by cutting into you, but you know what also helps me save time? Not waiting in the freaking line. I'm going to go straight and do a UE and I'm still there in 15 seconds instead of 15 minutes.
Yeah. And I didn't know that area well enough to be able to make that maneuver. And nor did I think that the light would be a 1.5 second light. Like there were 3, maybe 4 cars going through at a time. It was infuriating. But then the question is, okay, that's what Taylor would do. And you are the very hate you preach against. Thank you for cutting in front of me. Arrgh. But how would Jesus drive? Would Jesus have let that person in? Because he is fully merciful, but he is also fully just. And I felt like letting that person in was an injustice, not just to me, but to every person behind me who had put in the minutes through the cycles to get to the front of that stinking line. And so I feel like there's a scenario, a case could be made that Jesus would not have let someone in that scenario.
We'll never know because Jesus never drove a car. But I'll tell you what I do. If I have had a good day, I'll let him in. I don't care. It's you don't hate the player, hate the game. I know that I'm going to do it to the next guy. So, you know, it's all a wash in the end. But if I've had a bad day, I would do it. I would not let him in, and I'd feel exactly how you do, right? Because we've talked.
I was on a time crunch. We had to go to the volleyball game right afterwards, and we were already a couple of minutes behind. And that's on me. That's on me for not getting things going quicker. But nevertheless, I didn't anticipate a 3-cycle light, and so at that point, I wasn't willing to give a little bit because I was trying to get my daughter somewhere she was supposed to be quicker, and when we had to make this drop off or whatever. So
right, we like in any of these scenarios, you and I both have a very strong sense of justice. So I totally get it. I'm being a little facetious by making you realize that I'm the other guy, but like I do feel the same way, and essentially, it's always a value proposition of like is it really worth it for me to be angry about this right now all day to make it a big deal? But like sometimes it is. Like I had to make this choice the other day. I had a very real somebody else's road rage caused me to rage, and then I realized they were a crazy person and I had to back off. Like I did a perfectly legal it's at 5 o'clock traffic, perfectly legal and safe merge from the right lane to the left lane, and a guy came and he wanted to sit in my back trunk. Like that's where he was driving, right? And he was flashing his lights at me like I cut him off. I did not cut him off. That should have been my first sign that this person's insane, right? Have I ever cut somebody off before because I didn't see them? Yes, they have every right to.
But that wasn't this scenario.
I wave and I'm like, sorry, whatever, right? That was not this. He came like legitimately like 5 or 6 car lengths. We're all going 50 on a 70 because it's traffic, and he's acting like so. Like he's riding me so much, and I can't like it's traffic. I can't get out. That I like merge over and I exit because like essentially where I'm at is like I can be here or I can be there. If like I could take either of these 2 exits and get to my destination, right?
Yeah.
And I was planning on going to the farther one, but I don't want like I'm realizing this guy's insane, and I don't want to be stuck in traffic with him because he might get out of my car and my son's in the car.
Yeah.
Like again, I'm calculating all these things. So my son's not in the car. I probably don't care. Like, you know, like, but also if it's a crazy person, maybe I'm not going to go, and I'm probably going to stay in my car and let him look like an idiot and get yelled at for not driving because he's out of his car. You know, like all these scenarios, right? I get off. He follows me and gets off, and he starts doing the thing on the feeder where he's riding my butt in my car. Then he gets in front of me and brake checks me, and he's constantly doing this where I finally just like at an opportune moment, I just pull over to a place where he cannot pull over because he's in front of me at this point. Like I slam on my brakes and turn right to get this parking lot, and he has to go because I'm like, I was mad, and I will say the minor curse words around my son. He doesn't hear the big ones from me,
right? Unless
he's in the car with me and somebody's trying to take our lives, you know, like so. We were like, well, that just happened, right? And we just kind of moved on, and that was that. I was like, that person was crazy, and like he agreed. He was like, that was freaking insane.
Yeah,
so why was he sitting next to me? You know, like it's ridiculous. So at some point, you just got to be like, look, either I'm going to let this ruin my day, or we're just going to move about our day. And I let it go, dropped it, moved on, lived to fight another day, kind of thing. So,
and that's growth.
I thought you said gross like Mike Tyson for a second, and I was like, how is that gross? I feel like I'm being a better person. That's growth.
Like Mike Tyson. Oh, nope. Okay. Yeah, that's growth. I mean, because me 15 years ago, I would have been ready to just, okay, let's lock horns and see what happens. And here's one of the beautiful things, and I think you find yourself in a similar scenario. Like, I'm not driving a car that is worth dying on a hill for. Like if he wants to bump into my car, I guarantee that his car is going to sustain more damage because my car will get totaled at a $3,000 repair bill. They're like, yeah, your car's not worth more than $3,000. We're going to have to total it. Meanwhile, every other car out there is worth, 10, 12, 15, 20K. And I'm like, so I feel pretty good about that. But yeah, I'm proud of you for doing that, man. Cause I probably would have still been like, you can't believe this jerk, and use some of those minor words. Yeah. I like that. Minor swear words. Yeah. Yep.
He graduated for a few minutes, and then we were like, nah, you failed. Go back to the last grade. So he'll get there eventually. He's not there yet.
Yeah. Good. Which is good. Yeah. So
he goes to public school. He hears the words. I just don't want him to be from me, because then he'll be like, oh, the words I hear at school I could say.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, have you heard that word before? And my daughter's like, yes, Dad. I said, where'd you hear that word before? And she's like,
I said, I've been watching you. Dad, ain't that cool? I'm your buckaroo. I want to be like you.
She said, from you playing video games. I came downstairs to get something. I heard you playing video games, and you said that word. And I'm like, oh no. Oh, so now I am more self-aware.
And where did you learn it?
I learned it from you, Dad. From Taylor, playing video games with Taylor.
You learned it from the other driver. Yeah. That's great. Well, I'm glad that we got to end with a normal segment of the show. And that's the kind of stuff you could expect from me and Chris next month. I think that's it. I am positive I'm missing something, because I was going to come on in soliloquy, But then we just I was like, you be the surrogate wife and ask all the questions, and we did all of that. And I feel like I've missed something, but maybe it's I don't know. It's just a big moment, so I'm not sure what to do.
It's all straw compared to the colossal announcement. So Taylor, for those in the greater Bryan area, I would buckle up. Taylor's coming full force to share the full portion of God's love with you to the ends of the earth. Mic drop.
All right. I'll be back in a month. He'll be back in a month. See ya.
See ya.